Hi, hello, and welcome into the Take the North podcast along with Adam Studzinski of The Score, who is in for Dan Weeder today while he writes fun, neat little stories about the Chicago Bears in the Chicago Tribune. I am Mark Grote of The Score, and we just witnessed a fresh loss, 8th in a row for the Bears as they fall to the Vikings by a final score of 30-12. Yes. The Bears have lost 8 straight games, while it is fair to point out that the Minnesota Vikings have conversely won 7 straight games. They are 12-2 and in the power chair now all of a sudden in the NFC North. And as I was discussing Adam Studzinski before this Bears 8th straight loss, that it has just gotten to a point where this team is just straight up bad up and down.
Yeah, there's not much more you can say about it, man. This team needs this season to be over. Like that was my conclusion in the fourth quarter as they got down more and more and they continued to just not be able to convert the most. I mean, when you're doing things like Doug Kramer, who's been coming in as an eligible fullback all season, not reporting and costing you a touchdown. I mean, that, like, come on, man. Like that's something that at this point, when you've done it that many times, it should be the first, it's the first thing you got to do. And so, like, something that simple, like they can't get out of their own way. Whether it was that mistake or I got Keenan Allen for 4 drops tonight. Maybe if when you go back and look at it, caught the touchdown at the end of the game, but even though like he had the weirdest game, like really good plays, and then he had these 4 drops, like at least 2 in a row, basically towards the end of the fourth quarter. So it just, yeah, man, this season needs to be over.
Yeah, it does.
This team needs a hard reset.
Yeah, because it's getting close to what they did 2 years ago when they lost 10 straight games to end that season. I mean, that is in play. And I don't know, maybe I'm just in denial, but and I think you and I talked about this. There's no way this roster is as bad as that roster was,
no,
right?
It's not. And you can point to damn near every position on the team, and you can say that they upgraded.
Yes.
With the exception of Jalen Johnson was on that team. So, he was already here. And I mean, who else was on that team? I mean, Kyler Gordon. So, he was here.
Yeah,
Tom Briscoe's been hurt. But yeah,
yep.
like up and down the roster for the most part has been upgraded. And yet here they are.
Of course.
And including,
but it really shows.
Yeah.
But if you get to 10, how symbolic would that be of exactly zero progress even though I agree with you. This roster, it's better. Or I'm maybe in my brain, this has got to be a better roster, right? But you just mentioned one of the guys who, as you calculated roughly, Keenan Allen dropped 4 passes tonight, and he is a big part of the reason why I looked at this roster at the beginning of the season and said, that's a pretty talented looking offense and defense that they have right there.
Yeah. And I think that, part of this is we probably underestimated how bad the offensive line was going to be. Offensive line, especially in the first half, was pretty bad tonight. Grote and Adam he's just not ready for this.
Oh man.
Like he's just not. I mean, I understand he's a project when you picked him. It's a 3rd round pick though. Like a 3rd round pick this late in his rookie year should be able to go out there and play representative football. And he just didn't have, he just sucked tonight. Like he just sucked.
Yeah, he was the one. He was beaten by Jonathan Greenard on that, or Grenard.
I think it's Grenard.
Yeah, Grenard. Yeah. It is Grenard. Yes.
It looks like Greenard, but it
does look like Greenard. Yes. Grenard was the one that then scooped by Blake Cashman, I believe. Yeah. But that's example number 1. And there were several examples of Grote and Adam making mistakes, whether it be penalties or allowing, in that case, the big sack. But that wasn't surprising. It was surprising to me that he got the start. That did catch me off guard. I thought it would be Larry Borom, but once I thought about it, I'm like, yes, this is the time. If you are going to try your guys, I have no issue with that happening. That being said, the thought of Karan Amagaji, anytime anybody has asked me, I go back to the first game that he played in where he looked the same as he did last night. And maybe,
Yeah.
he has to go through these things and he will become a really good offensive lineman. I am by no means giving up on Karan Amagaji, but this was probably predictable what we saw out of Karan Amagaji tonight.
Yeah, I didn't have a lot of good feelings about Amagaji coming into this one, especially, like it probably would have looked a little bit better had he gotten more work with the first team. But Braxton Jones having the concussion the day before the game, a week afternoon, he was going to be out for this one. I mean, that's a tough spot for anyone to be in, especially if you're a rookie. I was like you, though. I was surprised that he got the start. I agree. Like, okay, give him a look. And
yeah,
Larry Borom didn't look that great when he filled in for Braxton Jones earlier in the season. But yeah, I mean, I was pretty surprised, this morning on the score when Brad Biggs was on Mully and Haugh, and he was speculating. He didn't say he was speculating, but he was making it clear that he thought Karan Amagaji was going to get the start, and that made when Biggs throws it out there, he's usually right.
Yeah,
so yeah, I was a little shocked by that. I know that especially at the tackle spot, you don't want to pull a guy too much, but I felt after that first drive, you got to get him out. Like when he gets your rookie, when a guy gets your rookie quarterback lit up like that.
Yeah.
And less than 2 seconds after the snap, I was immediately like, you got to get him out of there. Like,
wow,
you can't have. I mean, I know it's a quick hook,
but I'm hearing.
Hey,
I'm letting it. I'm actually processing what you're saying in real time. Well, my first instinct is definitely to disagree because I was going to say that in theory,
it was a little hot.
No, it's okay. I'm just giving you my side of it. That in theory, I liked the whole idea. It's like, as you said, Larry Borom is meh. He's fine. He's a backup offensive lineman in the NFL who is not part of your future. Karan Amagaji has to be thought of as part of your future, considering that he was a third-round pick. I mean, he has to be. He has to be thought of as a starter probably on the Bears eventually. So in theory, that's a good move. Now, the question that you brought up, do you get him out of there after that first series to protect your quarterback? I'm sure there's lots of people listening to or watching this podcast now who are applauding you because they're thinking, and for the second time on Thomas Brown's watch, we've seen Tyson Bagent finish up a game for whatever it's worth while we're on, because that's what part of this season is. It's all about Caleb Williams. And we're going to talk about Caleb Williams night, but it's not just about what he does in these games. And I thought he was off tonight. I know I'll get more on that as well. But it's about everything about him. Does he actually have it? Is he going to get injured? How does he protect himself? How is he psychologically? It's all about Caleb Williams physically and emotionally and mentally and all those fun words.
Yeah, and look, he had some. I agree. Like he was a little off tonight. He had some throws that he probably should have hit, and probably missed some open receivers, as they were pointing out a couple of times in the broadcast. I mean, also I just felt like not quite as bad as last week when it comes to him just not having a chance, but it's just the whole thing is just, man, and it's becoming it's unfortunate, but it's at the point where it's just like, like what do you say about him? Like when you have a guy on dropping multiple passes, when you got a left tackle that can't block, when you got heck, man, Darnell Wright got beat bad at one point, which is going to happen every now and then. And look, I got not a lot bad to say about Darnell Wright. He's been fairly consistent this year, but like it's tough out there for him, man. And I like him, like the rest of the team, like I just like, man, he needs to get this season done with and survive. At this point, it's just surviving to the end of the year and like give us these flash plays, look like try, like I don't know how you continue to see improvement from him if this is what they're going to be working with the rest of the year. Like it's
sorry, go ahead. No, it's okay, man. What I'm thinking though, as you're saying all that and making a whole lot of sense, that if Caleb Williams, like tonight, maybe he has been traumatized so much this year that it has gotten to this point. But here's the problem with Caleb tonight. There were too many times where there were wide open receivers that Caleb Williams wasn't hitting, and they showed it. They showed it on the national broadcast with Troy Aikman being really the one who probably called for the segment and said, it was kind of like, hate to do this, but guy open there, and Troy Aikman just saying they're straight up he's straight up missing guys. And then it just sort of ballooned into this conversation of, they used the word bust. Now, they were not saying or even hinting that Caleb Williams could be a bust, but they brought up names of guys from the past who were busts, and because of maybe the pressure that comes along with that. And they just there was a lot of calling out of Caleb, I thought, and saying, look, that he needs it, saying the same thing that you said, that he needs the offseason to really see if he is seeing it right. That was sort of the angle from Troy Aikman. When he talks, I do take it seriously.
Yeah, I got a lot to say about the way that Aikman was talking today, because in the same broadcast, he carried a lot of water for Ryan Poles. And that I thought was really off. I thought that was really off base. So to be so overly critical, the thing, like, to be so overly critical of Caleb Williams, who he didn't have a good game, and then 15 minutes later carry water for the guy that drafted him is wild. That's wild.
Stop. Like, this is a great moment for you. That is really good.
Pick a lane. Pick a lane, man. When you got, here's the thing. He's talking about how well the team is built. You got a 3rd round left tackle out there getting his ass kicked. You're talking about your quarterback is not playing well. Roma Dunze dropped a touchdown pass. These are all Ryan Poles draft picks. Ryan Poles draft picks. Troy, who are you carrying water for here? What's your point? Like, what point are you trying to make, man? Like, that really upset me.
Wow,
like, if you're gonna talk that harshly about Caleb, and look, Caleb can take it, and he would probably tell you the same thing. And they were actually really nice about Caleb earlier when they were talking about how Aikman said, look, I went 0-11 as a rookie. When they were talking to Caleb, like, you're gonna be fine. Just you'll get through this, and you're gonna be a really good player. And then to be critical of him, which is their job. And then to carry water for the general manager who had a horrible year. Like, dude,
I thought he was spot on with everything up until that point that you said. Now, maybe both things are true. Maybe he truly does feel that critique of Caleb, but it definitely is weird that he would, not find the blemish. I mean, you definitely don't have to, and I understand it. I mean, you got to sell yourself a little bit better. I mean, I totally understand. You don't need to go off on the guy, but just be like, they have all these fun graphics they use. Why not do the fun, the good and the bad, and do it in some cartoonish way? They could do that.
Yeah, look, to be clear, like, I don't want to carry water for Caleb here. Like, Caleb can take the criticism, and it was all fair criticism. Like,
that's what I mean.
Yeah, he's missing this guys, missing these guys. Like I said, Caleb didn't play a great game.
Right.
Pretty much the whole team didn't play a great game. So it's
true.
one of those games, and that just. I mean, we don't have to keep going on that too much
longer.
That just really irked me. Like, I was like, come on, man. Like,
that's a really good count, because I was happy with my opinion and what I said, but you just countered it and went over the top on me. It was so good. I enjoyed it. Caleb Williams on the night, 18 of 31, 191. He did have a touchdown pass to Keenan Allen. Again, 0 picks. He continues to be very careful with the football, except for obviously the fumble that he took tonight. But
although, in fairness, he should have had a pick. Harrison Smith had
on the next drive, right after the strip sack by your guy Grenard.
But sorry, continue with what you're saying.
No. I mean, that absolutely. That was an issue. I had that down as one of my bullet points. I would add to that as well the one thing that they were pointing out, and it's true. And I thought I was seeing it with my eyes. I didn't have the benefit of actually being in Minnesota for this game, so I'm watching it on television, and I'm seeing a lot. I mean, I understand sometimes you can have receivers in the same neighborhood, especially on a scramble drill, but it did seem like the Bears' offense seemed just, I guess the word I would use is disorganized in general. And maybe it started with the left tackle or what was going on up front, but there was just something that was not in harmony.
And it's in we'll see excuse me, get later on here and see what was really going on. But it looked to me like, again, like things aren't timing out right, and it's like this goes back to, I mean, they weren't going to, even when Thomas Brown took over offensive play calling, things got a little bit better, but like the structure of this offense is not conducive to like the rhythm and the timing of this offense has just been off all year. And when you have like what you're talking about there with guys in the same area on the fourth down in the third quarter, where it was kind of confusing if Caleb was throwing to Keenan Allen or to Rome Odunze, who was in the end zone, and after he scrambled out to his right. And I think when I saw the replay, it kind of looked like he was throwing to Rome, but then Keenan Allen is he's trying to tell. I get it, he's trying to make a play on the ball, and but like, why are these guys both in the same area?
I still don't know the answer. I'm looking forward to hearing what the answer to that is. What we'll probably get it. I'm sure the openness that Caleb Williams and Keenan Allen, both of those guys, have shown, we probably will know before because of the people who really break down the film. But that's a fascinating point.
Yeah, and I think that ultimately, like, I don't know. God, this team's going to play Detroit next week, and I guess the bright side is Detroit's going to be playing with a practice squad defense, so maybe they can move the ball and like
don't even try. I tried this before the game.
I mean, no, I'm not going to pick them to win. Don't get me wrong.
No, but there's like all those little avenues, like the NFL is going to NFL, and the Bears are going to, like, there's nothing left. There's nothing left in the kitchen for the Bears, like, in terms of how you could figure out a win for even that Seattle game. I know everybody wanted a piece of Seattle about 3 weeks ago. Oh, that's a win. No, it's not. There are no wins left for the Bears.
Oh no, and in the what I was gonna say was, like, I lost my point. It's fine. Well, Seattle might be without Geno Smith, so that game could actually be interesting.
Don't do it.
No. What I was saying is, like, at some point, and this is why after they lost their third game in a row, I was saying, they'll win another couple games just because the NFL is going to NFL, like you're saying, and it just. The way they've lost games this year, it's just like at some point you think, oh man, maybe Sam Darnold throws 4 picks and they find a way to steal one. But no, Sam Darnold did throw 1 interception on a 4th down that was kind of a whatever, because he was scrambling and just had to get rid of the ball. But and that's the other thing, dude. The Vikings didn't play that well tonight. They were very, like, Sam Darnold missed some throws, like Caleb missed some throws.
How about your guy Justin Jefferson making a huge drop?
Yeah, Justin. I was just gonna say, Justin Jefferson had a massive drop, and it just, man, like, neither of these teams played very well, but one of them is just won their 12th game, and the other lost their 8th game in a row, and they're going very different directions this season. So that's the difference. And one team has a really good coach, and the other has an interim head coach and is going to be hiring a new one. So
despite everything you just said, you're right. I mean, it was only 13-0 at halftime, Minnesota leading the Bears. And you were always, for a long time in this game, you were a touchdown away from being right there, on top of the Vikings in this game. All bets might be off, as the Vikings may just end up on their heels and lose the momentum. But I never felt like the Bears were going to get to that point. Like, I did pick up my phone at one point in time. I'm like, throw $20 down to make $80 or whatever. Then I was like, no, I can't. I was like, I just don't trust the Bears. So that is definitely the way it felt.
Nor should you.
And I think that the the Bears moment of the game, you already alluded to it. Can you believe my guy Doug Kramer didn't report? I mean, the third quarter, again, you're still in the game. That's the moment right there. It's 13-0. Was it a Swift touchdown? DeAndre Swift crosses the goal line to score 6. You had the extra point if they were able to get it. You're looking at a 13-7 ball game, but penalty called on Doug Kramer because he did not report as eligible, and that really sucks, man, because I like Doug Kramer, but this is like twice now, not nearly as glowing as his fumble, but it's like, no, the Doug Kramer thing failed again, and it actually hurts my heart in a lot of ways.
No, it does, because that guy, I mean, how many bears does that guy get? If this is a score, there's a reference to the 670, the score, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was 10. I think he's been hanging at 9.5, but this does. I mean, I love the guy, but it does drop him just a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like maybe
come on, man.
Not heavily. Like he can work his way right back up, but he's lost a little star this year.
And it sucks, man, because look, they found something with that particular play, with him running at fullback, and
yes,
when they've just run that play,
it's no
been
joke.
It's been really successful.
It's really
but
successful.
You got to report. And look, we can forgive. I forgive him for the fumble. Like that's the coaches put him in a bet. You can't put him in that spot in that particular game. But we're not going to rehash that whole thing. Obviously he needs to hang on to the ball, but whatever. This one is. You got to know you've done this how many times this year? He's done this at least 15 times this year, we'll say. Maybe around
that's probably a good estimate. Yeah,
and he's done it every time, and it's just, I mean, that's just a brain fart, man. That's what that is.
It was a brain fart.
But it's the most. It's besides making your block, it's the most important part that you have to do when you come into the game is report is eligible. And
when that play happens, my reaction is, because I get into it just like anybody, while trying to maintain reporter objectiveness and all of that good stuff. But when I'm watching this thing and that happens to Doug Kramer, it happens to him, of course. It happens to him. I'm like, oh no! I'm not mad necessarily. I'm like, oh, brain fart. Oh, that does not look good. But on the other side of it, the play that really got me mad tonight again, and this has been happening way too often. It's an unexpected part of the Bears team this year, and that is giving up big plays on defense. It was the first quarter. It was a 3rd and 17 screen pass to Aaron Jones, and he gets the first down. There was a 3rd and 10 to Brandon Powell that they executed. And you said it earlier, Studs. It's not like Sam Darnold was electric tonight. The 3rd and 14 to TJ Hawkinson after the sack by Chris Williams. Those were the things that got me sports fan angry watching the Bears tonight. That stuff keeps happening. And so I don't know in my head where this puts the Bears with the defense for the future. Are we just seeing a bad year by a good defense and injuries taken into account? For sure. You were playing without Gervon Dexter tonight. You were playing. Who else was out tonight for the Bears defensive? There was another big name.
I mean, Jaquan Brisker's still out.
Brisker. I thought I was missing somebody else along the defensive line, but I just hate that I'm questioning that defense week to week, and that we have to think about the future of the defense. And again, here's another example of it tonight.
Yeah, it's as far as starters, I don't think they were missing anyone else. I mean, Daryl Taylor, I think, left the game at one point, right? But I will say this real quick. I actually thought the defensive line played fairly well today, all things considered. I think, who I like. I mean, this is a quick aside. Jonathan Ford, number 64 on the for the Bears, had himself a pretty good game. And I haven't really seen a whole lot of him this year, so I thought he was fairly impressive, actually. And another bright spot, DeMarcus Walker.
Oh, he was
not a lot in the stat sheet, but had 4 QB hits and some, I think at least one other pressure or something like that. So he played pretty well. I don't really fault too much on the defensive line for this one. As far as them giving up big plays, honestly, this defense has too much talent to be giving up that kind of stuff. And I thought that you didn't hear Jalen Johnson's name a whole lot, so you go back and watch the film. I'm assuming that I know Justin Jefferson had one catch on him. That's pretty good. If Justin Jefferson's only getting one catch on you,
right.
I'd also say that as far as the big plays like that 3rd and 17.
Dude, some of those suck. Those were
yeah, it sucks
killers.
anytime that happens. But that play the Vikings converted with, you know what I realized the second it happened? That's the exact same play they converted 3rd and 13 on in overtime in the first game that they played it. The exact same play.
Wow.
Exact same play. The only difference is Sam Darnold was running the play instead of whoever the hell their backup quarterback is.
Yeah.
So
wow.
who's so irrelevant? Was it Nick Mullins?
Oh, yeah, it was Nick Mullins.
Yeah.
Mullins. Yes.
Mullins.
That was, Mullins. There were so many that game was maddening. And that was probably, it happened fast. It happened really fast. You didn't have much time to think about the Nick Mullins play, but that was maddening.
Yeah, well, yeah, because it was 3rd and 13, and they run this exact same play that they ran on 3rd and 17 to Aaron Jones, which it's essentially like a downfield screen. Like I don't really know how else to describe it.
Yeah.
And you're using receivers instead of linemen to block, but you're basically setting up like a long drag route with Aaron Jones, get the ball in the hands of a playmaker, receivers block downfield. And the one difference is this time TJ Edwards missed a tackle.
Yes,
which would have got him short.
Yes, he did.
And he's usually a fairly good open field tackle, so that's disappointing to see. But tackler,
excuse
me. So the defense is just there's too much. As far as the talent on the defense, I don't think they're that far off base. They definitely need a revamp on the defensive line to an extent, but I think some of it's scheme, some of it's guys just not playing up to their ability.
Yeah. You know who I am wondering about? One name you left off the list of defensive players that were impactful tonight. I mean, I think I might have mentioned his name earlier, so maybe that's why you didn't. But Chris Williams had another sack tonight. He has 3 sacks on the season so far this year, and he never had sacks before. I kind of just was like, because he's made some really nice plays beyond just sacking the quarterback as well. In limited time, understood. But for the first time, is there something there? And when I say that, I mean maybe as a backup, as a rotational guy. I don't know if he's like a true dude on that defense, but he just seems to be a smart player. And the sack he had tonight was his own. He did the work to get there, and he has quick feet. So I don't want to overdo it on Chris Williams, but I noticed him tonight.
Yeah, he's another guy that stood out. Yeah, like I said, the defensive line, I thought handled themselves fairly decently today, especially for you're down your top 2 defensive tackles. So you got guys like Chris Williams and Jerome
the linebackers
Ford.
and secondary suck then. I mean, is that what you're saying?
I don't
down plays.
It's as John Fox would say, Grote, it's all a problem.
It's all a problem. And that's fair with these Bears. It's all a problem.
Well, and honestly, those big plays is what killed them. And
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I need to blame somebody.
Yeah, they were doing a fine job of getting them in 3rd and longs for the most part. And they did fairly well against Aaron Jones until the fourth quarter. And so
he busted off a couple big runs.
It's tough to say, without watching the film over again. I know that Kevin O'Connell did a good job of designing some guys open, and look. You got a penalty, a DPI in the end zone on Tyreek Stevenson, and Justin Jefferson got loose for that first touchdown, which looked like kind of a bit of a breakdown. Like Kevin Byard bit really hard on the play.
He was wide open on that play, right?
I think that just on first glance, I thought that Kevin bit really hard on that play fake and didn't get back to his spot, which is where Justin Jefferson ran into. But that's just this first glance. And so look, I guess what we're saying here is every one of these plays, it's something different. It was never one player. It's probably something to do with scheme. Sometimes guys just getting beat. Look, guys like Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson. Hawkinson. Like sometimes you're going to get beat, and that's fine. But it can't be like that. Like again, there's too many good players on that defense for that to happen.
Third and long, you can't allow. You can allow 1 or 2 in the game, but God, they were coming in succession in this game. Let me give you I've got a couple more positive things that I'm just going to rattle off, and then one other issue to address for the Bears before we get out of here on the Take the North podcast. Mark Grote and Adam Studzinski. You had the Dominic Robinson block punt. That was badassery. Nice. I love a good, it's just such a violent sounding thing, and you got to be sure to get, because if you don't get that ball, then, and we saw it earlier tonight, the Bears were the beneficiary of a roughing the punter. So I do like a good block punt. So cheers to, there he is, number 90, Dominic Robinson.
Yeah, that's another project they've been working on, and he hasn't got much playing time this year, right? But that's great. And look, that was a good, he came free up the middle, so maybe a little bit of a design block there. And I thought it was funny that if you watch the play, he blocked the ball went right into his face mask. And then the punter's leg also went right into his face.
Oh, really? I didn't see that.
It was like bang. I kind of you kind of feel bad for the punter in that moment too.
Yeah, that's insult to injury or something like that.
It's one of those ones where it's you kick the ball and all of a sudden you're on your back and you're like, what the F just happened? And so that was good. That was nice to see. And look, add a positive onto that.
What happened
after the Bears took over, they scored their only touchdown. A nice throw to Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
After Caleb Williams had a nice throw to Roman Dunze for what should have been a touchdown.
Ooh, yeah.
I mean, Caleb should have completed every ball on that drive. Every ball he threw on that drive was on the money. And Keenan Allen dropped 2 of them. I think.
Yeah, it was a pretty haunted looking drive for sure.
So, and you can tell even Keenan Allen, after coming off the field after he got the touchdown, kind of threw his helmet down. He was still frustrated. So he knew he didn't play well tonight, I think.
Unfortunately, he didn't. He had some nice plays, but the drops do start to add up. You mentioned DeMarcus Walker. Glad you mentioned him. And then the other thing I'll say that I just liked in the game, and I know DJ Moore probably loved it, was when DJ Moore got back-to-back handoffs. Right side 9 yards, left side 9 yards. I was like, I kind of like I knew you couldn't do that for the entire game, and I'm glad they didn't try to overthink it. But using him that way, I thought that was pretty cool, because he just that is DJ Moore's game. He is a creator in space. So why not 3, 4, 5 times a game just hand the ball off to him?
Yeah, that's something that I've talked about, whether on this podcast or on 670 The Score. That's a guy you need to get the ball in his hands at least 10 times a game. And so I did like that. Yeah, hey, they actually lined him up as an actual halfback. At least once.
I thought it was twice. Maybe
it wasn't twice. Yeah, maybe it was once when I saw it. I might have missed the other one.
Yeah, and maybe it's possible that I missed it or didn't see it correctly, but that's what I liked about it. Yeah. It wasn't too gimmicky. You know what I mean? It was let's see what he can do. Here's run right, run left, go.
It was just a little handoff, and it was just a straight up handoff like they would do with DeAndre Swift or Roschon Johnson. So that was nice, and that's something that since Thomas Brown has taken over, they've been extremely intentional about getting him the ball. And so he had, between his 8 catches and 3 carries, look at that, he had 11 touches today. So that's exactly what I'm talking about.
It's a great point. It's a great point. And they don't have to all be 20-yard bullets down the middle of the field. And you're right, that they have been doing that, where they step over the line of scrimmage, throw to DJ Moore and see what he can do. So that is the proper way to use him. The last thing that I want to address, and Adam, if you've got anything else after this, please feel free. But I don't think we've really talked about one of the other interesting themes with Thomas Brown as the head coach, him going for it on 4th down a couple of times, including on the very first drive. The Bears go for it on 4th and 1. The toss to DeAndre to Swift. And the Vikings stop it, and they get the ball on the Bears 40 to begin the game. My real-time reaction was, I'm okay with it. I know that it doesn't sound right and it wasn't right, but I think that it's that mode of you're heavily overmatched. This is probably not a game that you're going to win. Do everything you have to do to try to win this game. Conventional wisdom, it was not. How were you feeling on that 4th and 1 on the first drive of the game by the Bears?
I was fine with it. For everything you said, like on the road against an opponent that you've been eliminated from the playoffs. Your opponent is just flat out, you're an underdog. I guess you could you're an underdog. 4th and 1, go for. I'm a fan of going for every 4th and 1.
Okay.
For the most part. For the most part, not
Yeah.
if you're on your own 15, probably not, right?
Or
Unless
you're
Dan Campbell.
I think the stakes of the game too, and thinking ahead 1 or 2 series, that kind of thing.
You know what's weird, and it was probably second guessing because they didn't get it, but the second time they went for it, I was like, in the moment, I was like, man, I almost just say take the field goal here and get on board.
See, now there, I was like, go.
That's when it was still a 13-0 game, and I was like, maybe get the 3 points, but look, I mean, they would have lost anyway. So
I can't believe but it really, what we should be talking about is I can't believe that they were not able to. Can you imagine what Olin Kreutz is probably saying about this? Like, if you can't, and any guy that's ever played offensive line, Tom Thayer used to always say, you get a yard. This is not exclusive to Olin. God bless Olin. But Tom Thayer used to say, like, you at the very least, like, that's minimal competency for a football team. You have to have a play that can get 1 yard. And when you miss it 12, I guess, was it 4th? They were both 4th and 1s. When you miss it twice, that is a bad thing. You could kind of maybe begrudgingly accept 1 because sometimes defenses make stands, but not 2. That was a bad look.
Right, yeah. And you know what's funny is they have a play they can get 1 yard with. It's when they bring Doug Kramer in, and they didn't do it for either of those plays.
You got to report, buddy. You got to report. Come on, man.
The last thing I have is I wanted to give myself props for almost nailing the score of the game. I said 30-10. It was 30-12. Price is Right rules mean that I win. So because I didn't go over it.
It amuses me, Mr. Studzinski, that we only hear about you when you are victorious. What about your losses, sir?
Well, we all picked the Vikings to win, so we all got that. I did another half a point for getting the score closest.
None of us got crazy in this game. We're all like, there's just nothing left. It's just like we talked about at the beginning of the podcast, and I'm sure Dan and I and you studs will all talk about it. It's really getting difficult to measure what is left for this season and what it means and what it should mean. And those are things that we will continue to talk about on the Take the North podcast throughout the week. The Bears lose to the Vikings 30-12. That is 8 straight losses for Adam Studzinski, who is the executive producer and host on this show as well. And he is also one of the executive producers of the Bernstein and Harris show. So check out that show every day on 670 The Score. And for our guy, Dan Wiederer as well, I am Mark Grote. Thanks for watching and listening to the Take the North podcast. We'll talk to you guys later.
Great talk. See you out there.